Okie dokie, this is Coach Mike. Gonna go through our focus group watch list. I am running a bit behind, so I haven't sent the spreadsheet out to you. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna go through on this video, kind of read the charts, and then I'm going to put together the spreadsheet and email that out to you a little later. I'm kind of falling behind today on some things, so I wanted to get the video at least out to you so you see what I'm understanding on the charts. We lost two different swing points last week on Caterpillar. I personally don't think Caterpillar will do more than come up here, give you a bit of a head and shoulders pattern before falling, if it even makes it up that far. Because of the news that caused Caterpillar's decline, I would wait, let it run up, and on the first bearish chart pattern, I would take the risk with a small puts position. CVX, what a crazy couple days. It did come up into one of my Fibonacci targets. It did begin to pull back from that point. I think at this point we're going to see CVX pull back at least to the bottom of this original channel. If not our swing point here or the 119.87, I'm not going to try to predict how fast it'll do it. We need to get below the 122.86. And really we need to get into that under 122 price. But CVX gives us a lot of reason here to start thinking a little bit bearish. DuPont's been a crazy stock. I mean, it's kind of in this weird consolidation range, and I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't touch it in this consolidation range. I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear, but options is a game of dollar moves and how many $1 moves it can make to the positive side for you compared to how many $1 moves it can make to the negative side. And anything you trade in this consolidation range is such a tight range for DuPont that I think you need to hold off on it. Facebook actually closed up quite nice and kind of in line, right with a bit of a horizontal. We talked in our lesson this past week about really the need before a long-term trade to let it break above 63.30 and take advantage of shorter-term trades. If you did that the other day, then great. As long as it's under that 63.30 area, I think you should just focus on some shorter-term stuff. When it breaks above that point, or if it breaks above that point, because I don't even know if it will, that's when you can look 2-3 months out in your $68 to $70 range, maybe 4 to 5 months out for the 72.59, or we'll say $75 range. That's what I would be looking at there. Other than that, I really think it's close enough to where I have projected on my intraday charts that it could see a little bit of a pullback. I wouldn't be forcing anything in it right now personally. Go over to First Solar. First Solar kind of did what we talked about in last week's video. It popped up into our Fibonacci resistance point. Little dead cat bounce. As you can see, First Solar wants you to buy it on this line. Let's give it another week or so to get there, and we'll see a lot of solar stocks start to pick up about that time as well. I'm very, very confident that we'll see it come down to that line. GLD, still in this horizontal pattern that I've talked about the past couple weeks, where when it's in the middle of the horizontal channel, you could do a little bit of a strangle. Anytime it runs outside of it, you start to reduce. I mean, like this gap over here, you should have sold half at least of any calls you were in. It comes back in here, buy into that half that you sold again. Trade this one 3 months out right now while it's in consolidation. GS is a bit tricky because of how the DJI kind of lagged things. There is some potential we could see it go up, but I don't think it'd be any more than like a one-day move. I'd let that happen, and we'll start. It got away from us the latter part of last week. Wednesday when it kind of shot up after it looked like it would pull back. So let's let this move happen. Let's get geared up for another round of some big trades on Goldman Sachs with our focus group. But we're going to have to kind of watch and wait and see how tomorrow's trading goes before I would personally make any decisions on how to trade GS. Lockheed Martin, broke out of that down channel, came back and retested it. Plain and simple, you see it right there, making a positive move from it. If it continues the positive move from, look at your June $165 or $170 calls. But we've got to kind of watch this 165.50, the same area we had to break before. We've got to kind of watch, because if you look over here, what you could call to be like a left shoulder, and if it came up here and pulled back from it, a right shoulder, we just have to, I'm not saying that's what it will do. We have to be observant that that's what it could do. So if it gets back to that point, don't right away dump calls, but look at taking like the 160 puts if it runs up to the 165.50 area. UPS is strong here. We had this trade that I had put out, and then it didn't pull back enough for me, but now it's running again. I got to be honest, so long as it holds 102.51 as a closing price, I think it can legitimately hit 105.54. I think it'll legitimately get into this swing point here, the 105.08, and I think you could trade it between the swing points. UPS has been a good chart for the swing point trading, and that's where I'd look at. Visa, our final chart, a bit of an ascending triangle we see here. I don't think the top side has much potential, but that's only if that's the target area. I've actually got another chart, it's not on this chart, but another thing I was studying where I was seeing more in the 219 to 221 range. So you could play the ascending triangle if it breaks out above this horizontal line, with that horizontal line being your stop. Real simple and quick kind of walk through with the focus group charts. You see my markings on them. They're pretty clear to understand. Keep it simple. It's a holiday week, 4-day trading week. Typically that's pretty light volume. If you try to overthink things this week, you might see things go up on super light volume. You could see things go down on super light volume. And quite frankly, it might not mean anything. And it might not make a lick of sense to you. So this week especially, I would personally focus on shorter term trading if I were you.